What's up everyone? How we doing? I figured today I would do a little bit of a different video. Since I've started posting again, I've gotten some questions about where I've been. Obviously, I took a little bit of a hiatus this year, so I think that y'all are deserving of an explanation. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of a life update, and I'm also going to do a little bit of a Q&A. I've gotten a lot of questions recently on my channel about a number of different things, and I figured it would be easy to just compile all of the responses to those questions in a video. And if you are new to my channel, my name is Dylan. Here we talk about all things personal growth, career development, and pretty much everything in between. So first, why don't we start out with where I have been? Okay, so for the last 6 or so years, I lived in Los Angeles, and in February of this year, I moved to New York. Obviously, a huge move across the country. I'm originally from the East Coast, so I'm back here now with a community of friends. I'm here with my family. When I got here in February, admittedly, I was bouncing around a lot for the first 6 months, just trying to find housing. I was in a few different Airbnbs, and it was difficult for me to get settled and have a comfortable spot for me to make content. And I'm grateful to say that I'm finally settled here in New York City, where I have a decent creative space in my room where you see me make all these YouTube videos, and I'm doing other creative projects as well. I did put out a single on Spotify this year. It was my first single that I put out with the help of a record label, so that was a really cool accomplishment. I will link the song in the description. It just hit 100,000 streams on Spotify, so I am very, very stoked and very grateful for the support. It's disco, it's dancey. Hopefully you like that music. Go check it out regardless. It's fun. On the topic of content, I began making content that is a little bit different from what I originally started making, which was like web development and career stuff. I've begun to branch out a little bit into personal growth space. It's ultimately what I'm passionate about, and I think career stuff kind of falls under the broad umbrella of personal growth. Me branching out has been pretty fun the last couple months as I've started my YouTube channel back up. Sorry for the busy sirens in the background. It is New York City. The other thing that I am excited to start doing is interviewing people on my channel, other content creators, thought leaders within the space, people who are successful at monetizing their passions, talking about the creator economy, coding, different things like that. So if you have anybody that you'd recommend who you'd want to see interviewed on this channel, let me know in the comments, or you can DM me on my Instagram. And on that note, if you have any suggestions of what you want me to talk about on this channel, the door is always open. You can leave ideas in the comments, and again, you can DM me on Instagram. I reply to every message. Okay, let's jump into the Q&A now. I'll go from simple to complex. So let's start out with the first question. What mic do I use? I use the AKJ 214. I got it a few years ago when I started to make more music, and I use it to record vocals, and I also use it to obviously record audio for my YouTube channel. This is what it looks like. Check 1, 2. This thing rocks. It gets the job done. What computer do I recommend for starting out and learning to code? When I get this question, I immediately think that the person who asks is just overthinking it, and that is totally fair. It's common. Any computer works. Any computer that you have access to, hopefully it runs pretty smoothly. The more important thing is to just get started and begin learning a palpable skill set like coding or whatever it is that you're interested in. I got a brand new MacBook Pro this summer. It works great. Would highly recommend. I have friends that use PCs and so on. I really don't think that it matters. Just get started. What frameworks do you suggest that I use to get started to get a job by 2025? I think that this is probably in reference to a coding job. I recently made a video about this. I guess it's kind of heavily debated at this point because people are saying that coding is less and less of an important skill set. I thoroughly disagree. I think that if you are looking to learn a framework, for me, my skill set lies in the front end and web development world. I strongly recommend learning Next.js. It's powered by Vercel, and Vercel makes it extremely easy to build and deploy websites pretty much instantaneously. Pairing that skill set with Node is also a pretty sure bet. It'll help you learn the full stack. I know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React, but how do I get a job? I hate to be vague, but I would just check out my other videos. One of my most popular videos talks about this. It's up here, and I will link it in the description for you. The most important part is just getting as much experience as you can. Am I still employed? Yes. Despite the market. So long as your skill set is strong and you're gaining experience, I believe that anybody can be employable. I'm reading off my laptop for this one. Hey, I'm literally diving into this head first and I want to know how to build a site from scratch. Where do I start? I've seen things like Bootstrap and HTML5 up for templates. Can you please briefly explain what a framework is? I probably sound like a broken record, but I started out using sites like Free Code Camp and even resources like YouTube to build sites from scratch. I would just start out with HTML, CSS, and light JavaScript. You can use a template like html5up.com. I've actually used that in previous jobs before to quickly build sites. I think it's fine, but frankly, the best way to learn is to just do it all yourself. And you can kind of use things like HTML5up as like a starting point and a bit of a crutch. I would try to just learn from templates like that and kind of look at the structure of the code and use it as a basis and a jumping off point for your own sites and build features on top of those templates, if that makes sense. Bootstrap is a little bit of an outdated CSS library, but it can still be leveraged. Many sites still utilize it today, so I think knowing the basics is fine, but there's a lot of other great CSS component libraries out there like Tailwind. And for a framework, I'm gonna try to explain what a framework is without Googling it, so feel free to just add to this explanation in the comments if I've missed anything. A framework is basically just like a library that is built on the language that you're writing in. So take vanilla JavaScript, for instance. You have JavaScript as a scripting language. React is a library that is built using JavaScript to make your workflow a lot easier. It leverages different things like state in order to build dynamic websites that hopefully perform faster or optimized for higher traffic levels, things of that nature. I would just take a peek at something like the React.js documentation to get a better idea of what a framework is. You'll really understand what a framework is once you start to write code in said framework. So I'd say once you're ready, just jump right in and it'll make more sense to you. I don't mean to be dodgy, but that's kind of the truth. This was a funny question. How about in my 30s, referencing my feeling lost in your 20s video? I'll make a feeling lost in your 30s video in 10 years when I'm approaching 40. How about that? You can hold me to it. What advice would you give someone who has no goals, motivation no matter what they do? They're never happy, hence why they lose motivation. Those feelings are valid and I totally hear you. Look, I lose motivation all the time. When motivation is low, one of the biggest things that I have fallen back on is discipline. Let's say you are trying to get fit and you want to go to the gym, I don't know, 3 times a week. Maybe only 1 out of those 2 days you're gonna feel pretty motivated to get to the gym after a long day of work, but it's the discipline that will effectively motivate you to get to the gym, and hopefully once you're at the gym, you'll feel a little more motivated. You may not feel motivated when you actually get to the gym, but again, that's kind of where you need to fall back on the discipline. One book that I strongly recommend for this topic is Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's very popular and it discusses some of these things. It'll help you kick different habits or maintain a level of discipline that helps your motivation throughout life. I think that's it for all the questions. I figured it would be a little bit easier to just condense everything into a video, and also again just say thank you for all the support over the last almost 2 years of this channel being a thing. And like I've said before, I need some ideas on video content. So if you have anything that you would like for me to talk about, discuss on this channel, drop a comment below. I'd love a little bit of inspiration from y'all. This is a community after all, so we might as well continue to just keep the discussion going. And again, thank you so much guys for the support. I appreciate it. Creating content is super fun for me. I like to just create stuff in general, so I'm excited for the new year to continue to create fun, inspiring videos that hopefully help you build a more inspiring life. So until the next video, thanks, take care, see you soon. Oh, also check out my home studio. Great book. That's all it is.